Go.
This is the Chalfants, and we're going to teach you how to make fire starters to make your campfire burn.
We need these candles, we need a pan, we need a glass jar, and we need a dirty thing.
Dryer lid.
Dryer lid. We need it and a large egg carton.
And what kind of egg carton is that?
It is a cardboard egg carton.
Right, because it has to burn, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
We're going to color our wax with crayons that we've taken the wrappers off. Like we were doing.
So these, the tea lights, you have to take the big metal thing off, and then under here with like the TNT stick thing off it, you have to take this thing out.
So we're going to put all 15 tea lights in this jar, and all the green crayons that have mostly no wrappers, so that the wax will be a different color when it's melted. Ciao, ready to melt? So to make the wax melt, we're doing what it's called a double boiler. It's when you have a container with the stuff you want to melt in it, and you put it in a pan that has some water in it, but you don't want to have so much water that it tips over or just floats around. And what it does is the water heats up, and then it heats the container, and then melts whatever inside. So Michael's going to fill it up about halfway. Let your friend help you out. Alright, you're good. Now let's see if it floats around. You got it? Put it there. Go set it over here.
That's good.
What do you think, Dad?
Looks good to me.
Okay, what I've done now is put the pan on the stove, and we're gonna set it to high with the rear or the front.
The front.
Okay, with the
Where the
front.
pan is.
Two.
Push in.
High. And we're gonna let the water heat up, but we don't want it to boil and bubble around. So if it looks like it's starting to boil, we're gonna turn it down.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this dryer lint and we're going to break it up into little bits, and we're going to stuff some in each cup in this paper egg carton. And I think we're going to fill it most of the way up. We're not going to cram it too tightly.
Like this.
And once we get all these cups filled up, hopefully our wax will be all melted. And we're going to carefully, with some gloves, so we don't burn ourselves, pour wax into each of these cups. And that wax is going to set up around the dryer lint, and that's going to be our little fire starter.
I'm just going to help bring up yours a bit more.
Now as this water is starting to boil, there's little bubbles of steam underneath this jar, and it's making the jar wiggle around, and we think this is pretty cool. This is little pockets of steam being created as the water starts to boil, and that steam is pushing this jar around the pan.
Oh, I see steam coming out.
So while we're waiting for the tea lights to boil, we put some parchment paper down because we don't know if the wax will leak through the bottom of the egg carton and onto the counter, and we don't want Mom to come back and have to clean it.
Okay, so our wax is pretty much melted here. I'm going to very carefully move it over here, and we're going to pour the wax in. So I'm going to turn this heat off. I'm going to let this drip so that we don't get hot water all over the place and burn ourselves.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I'm using my trusty UV glove here.
Yes.
Make sure I get a good firm grip on it so that I don't drop it. And let's try this. Let's use this towel to support it. So now we're going to hope that our wax doesn't run out. And we're just going to pour this wax in here.
Make sure you be careful so you don't burn yourself through the grate.
Now, it's possible that we'll run out of wax, and if that's the case, we'll just get some more of those tea lights. We'll melt some more.
And get some more crayons, right?
And we'll make some more. That's our silly dog working. Oh, we had some chunks in there.
It's alright as long as most of it's burned, right? Or melted.
Muscle.
I think we're gonna run out. We're gonna need some more.
So you run out of wax, just repeat the process, and except for the lint part, and yeah. And oh, look at the paper in there.
Let's do that. Okay, so we ran out of wax, so we threw 5 more of the tea lights in and melted them down, and they're all melted, so we're gonna go ahead and turn the heat off, and we're gonna basically do the same thing, and we're gonna fill these guys up.
Try up the bottom.
Now, I've got a plastic cup here. If we have too much, then I'll pour it in the plastic cup, and we'll save it for the next time we do this.
You can see some of the other wax is already kind of dried.
So when we do this again, we'll remember, and we'll throw 20 tea lights in, maybe even 21.
Yeah, looks like you could use a little bit more. So experiment with it, add more, add less, you know.
All right, so we're gonna let that set up, and then we'll come back when it's all set up and show you what it looks like. Once the wax is set, you can cut the little cups apart with a pair of scissors. I recommend wrapping them in paper towels or something like that to keep the waxy stuff off of your camping gear when you take it out in the field.
This is the fire we made with our little fire starter. I'd say it works pretty well. What would you say?
Yeah, it looks like it's working pretty good. All we did was light the cardboard edge of it with a match. And once it got going, it's going really good.
About to add